And welcome, everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional with a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And my, what a difference a day makes, right? Or several days, should I say. It's been exactly 1 week now that President Joe Biden graciously bowed out of the race for a second term, and he strongly endorsed his Vice President, Kamala Harris, to resume his duties of running for president of the United States of America. And boy, is she off to an amazing start. First up, Black women got into formation immediately and came on a Zoom call, 44,000 people strong, to support their girl. All right. And in doing so, they raised funds and expressed their concern and support for her. Next came the brothers, the Black men for Kamala Harris. They rose to the occasion likewise on a Zoom call, and they raised funds too. So between the Black women and the Black men, each raised about 1.5 million apiece at the last count that I saw. And then, thirdly, the white women for Kamala Harris came on board. And boy, oh boy, did they have a come to Jesus meeting on Zoom. Let me tell you, white women are the largest voter constituency in America. And they came on and brought it, some 200,000 of them. And like I said, they had a come to Jesus meeting. They talked about the patriarchy. They talked about the errors that they made in 2016, how they did not fully support their candidate of Hillary Clinton to make history. Though she won in the popular vote, she didn't get all of the states and what have you. So after those 2 hours of their coming to Jesus and getting it together and getting into formation, they raised a total of $11 million. Now, there are several other groups that are getting into formation as well across the nation. In fact, this Monday, the white men for Kamala Harris are going to show up for her. So that's going to be very interesting. And may I add, I have been able to view everything on YouTube. YouTube doesn't crash. You don't have that problem. You can read stuff in the chat. So it's a perfect medium to check that out. So tonight, we're going to discuss Black men. And now we know that Black men are among the most, let's face it, Black men really are the most marginalized group in America, in this country, like from economic issues to most definitely the criminal justice system, right? And so Black men are always in a perpetual state of crisis as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm excited tonight to have three very distinguished gentlemen come before us tonight to discuss these issues. And I am so happy that we had a little bit of a late start tonight, but I'm glad you guys are here. All right. So first up, I have Dr. Ronald Charles. He is the Chief Medical Officer of the Ingram Community Health Centers in Lansing, Michigan. Prior to this tenure, Dr. Charles has practiced internal medicine and has served as an assistant professor in internal medicine at Wayne State University, and he has served as vice president of medical affairs for the Centene Corporation. He is a fellow of both the American College of Physicians and the American College of Healthcare Executives. He is a board-certified internist. He completed his residency in internal medicine at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center in Chicago, Illinois. Dr. Charles is a native of Detroit, Michigan, and is an active member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And Dr. Charles is my dear, dear friend Ron. We have known each other forever, went to high school together, undergrad together. So if I call him Ron, you know why. If he calls me Pammy, you also know why. We go that far back. Welcome back to the show, Doc.
Thank you, Pam.
Next up, we have William Bill McGee. He is an adjunct professor of music at Virginia State University. Bill was a hip hop pioneer and two-time gold medal recipient for the iconic rap hits Freedom and Apache. He has been a voting member of the Grammys for 15 years. Bill McGee is an internationally known recording artist and CEO of the 804 Music Group. He has served as both a public school teacher and administrator in Petersburg and Richmond school systems. He was the director of bands for Elizabeth City State University and Morehouse College. He has recorded with the likes of the OJs, Patti LaBelle, the Sugar Hill Gang, Angie Stone, and among many other luminaries. Along with his passion for music, Bill is also an ordained minister, and in 2022 was elected president of a Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was founded in 1957 by the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and 60 other civil rights pioneers. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say I'm president of the Richmond chapter, not the whole SCLC.
Right. I thought I said that, president of the Richmond chapter.
I just don't want anybody to think I'm trying to give myself a promotion. But
I do understand. But oh boy, we got a lot of people in the chat already. Great. Okay. And last but certainly not least, there he is. We have Dr. Terry Allen. Terry has over 30 years experience in public relations, marketing, and sales. He currently serves as Vice President, Marketing and DEI at the Focus Communications and historical award-winning Black-owned boutique PR Comms Consultancy. Terry oversees the strategic direction, execution, and growth of the agency's diverse clients that include local, regional, and national clients across a variety of industries. Terry is also the founder, volunteer managing director of City Men Cook, a culinary celebration of men, women, and community that has raised funds and awareness for charities in North Dallas community for over 23 years. Terry is also the chair of the National Association of Black Media Related Task Force from Dallas, Texas. Welcome back to the show, Terry. Welcome back, Terry. You ain't saying hi. You ain't saying anything. Uh-oh. Terry, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Terry. Terry. Can you hear me, Terry?
Hey, how's everybody?
Good.
Bill, thanks for supporting my whole high school romance work. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Terry? Oh, there's a little bit of lag. Okay. I can't hear you. I mean, it's a lag.
I have some connection.
Huh?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, but can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, you sound great. There's some connections in here. Yeah, there's some connections here. We have some bad weather down in Texas.
Ah, okay. Woo, y'all, listen, those of y'all in the chat, we have had some technical difficulties tonight a little bit here. So I'm gonna say hello to all of you guys. Hey, Showy Howie. Some white men are getting active because they are pissed. Okay. Weed is on the ballot. Lord, who is that? How you can't? Dr. Childs has a black job. Yes, he does. All of these gentlemen have black jobs. My line brother. Hey, Ed. Go green. Okay. Oh, ooh, Richard. I don't curse, Richard. Mr. McGee has a black job. Thank you. Okay. Oh, here's more. Dr. Childs is my line. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. We need the Asian, Hispanic, white women, and men as well to get mad. We need everybody mad. We need the whole United States to get in alignment. Dr. Allen has a black job. Okay. Oh, Marvin Curtis from South Bend, Indiana. Hello, Marvin. Hello, Richard. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get this party started. So this question is going to be for each of you, and I'm going to start first with, I can't even read my writing. Oh, this is going to be first with Dr. Ron Charles. I'm going to ask you each, what was your immediate reaction when Joe Biden dropped out of the race and why? Dr. Charles, you first.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I was initially disappointed, and because I felt that he was kind of pushed out the race due to the media and their portrayal of him and how they characterized him, and the double standard that the media did, really played in regards to how Biden was being viewed compared to that other person who I try to keep his name out of my mouth. So I felt that was a major factor, because it just kept things going. It just kept that narrative going that he was frail, that he wasn't able to handle the duties, when clearly for the past 3.5 years up to this point, he's been handling the duties and been handling the duties well. The other factor, I think, was how the Democrats responded after the debate. They got squeamish, they got afraid, and I didn't understand it, because good debate, bad debate, at the end of the day, it's the issues that rule the day. And I felt that, and I feel that the Democrats have the issues on their side in terms of Project 2025, the abortion issue, voting, voting rights, etc., healthcare. So I really believe the Democrats have the issues on their side. So that was my initial disappointment.
Okay. All right. Bill, what was your initial reaction? Why did you respond that way?
Well, it was two cases. The night after the debate, I put on the screen a picture of Joe Biden and myself when we were together a few years ago.
Okay.
And I said under the screen, speechless. All right. And then the night that he made the afternoon that he made the announcement, I put the same thing on the screen. I put speechless up there, because like Dr. Ron said, he was forced out, and I felt it was unfair to Joe for a couple of reasons. All of us on the screen, with the exception of you, Pam, are getting up in our years, and all of us realize that while we may not be able to recall some names or recall some other items, the wisdom and understanding that we have of how to do things and policies and the theory that we've learned over the years and everything else, we still have a good grasp on that. And Joe is a politician. He knows as much about what's going on in the world as any politician in the United States. So, and then he has all these advisors. So I was trying to, he's got Sister Rice up there with him, and I was Susan Rice, and I was going like, people don't understand that you all are talking this about Joe, but Joe has people to the right and left of him that are going to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid.
Right.
Whereas that unnamed person has nothing but stupid people to the left and right of him.
Right.
So he does, and they're all genuflect and all of that orange person's minions. They'll do anything he tells them to do. Joe doesn't have those kind of people around him. He got people that will challenge him if he tries to make a dumb decision. And so therefore I felt it was unfortunate. And I'll honestly say this, I'm an MSNBC person. I turned it off for 2 weeks because I felt that they were piling on all the other folks. And I like Joe Scarborough and I like all those other people, but I couldn't even listen to them throw Joe under the bus like that.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Terry, gosh, Terry?
Looks like his picture's frozen. No,
he's not frozen. Terry. Uh-oh, he dropped off. Gosh, what happened? He said that they're having some weather issues in Dallas. Oh boy. Okay, so let's go on and to the next topic. What are your big three concerns, gentlemen, for our nation as it relates to you as a Black man? Ron, you first.
Well, mine is going to be as it relates to a Black man and a healthcare professional. Because I don't just think about myself, I think about others. I always kind of think about the bigger picture. Project 2025 really gives me great pause because there's several healthcare items in there that if that person who will remain nameless gets in the office, that women and men are going to have issues because while, for example, this total ban on abortion will directly affect women because it will directly remove their ability to have the control over their body that is their God-given right. If all abortions are banned, no matter under any circumstances, which is what this total ban is talking about, that means to save the life of the mother, the life of the baby, the life of the mother, anything like that, somebody's going to, that means that there's the possibility that somebody could die. And if somebody dies, that changes. For example, if the mother dies and they have children already, that's going to completely change the dynamics of that family.
Right.
And that's going to cause that father to now have to raise and be the mother and father for those children, all because his wife couldn't get a surgical procedure to save her life.
Right.
If that baby dies, that's going to be an issue. I'm thinking about the ban on all contraceptives, because again, that's an issue that affects both men and women. Social Security, raising the retirement age of Social Security. Well, that's going to affect everybody potentially, because now you want us to work longer and keep us from what's due us because we've been paying into the system for a number of years.
Right.
That affects me as a Black man and as a person who is still working, but knows that retirement is in the horizon.
Right.
I think that if Project 2025 gets initiated, even more than what it already has, you're going to be talking about police being able to do whatever. I mean, basically being able to treat people any kind of way with immunity, without any type of repercussions.
Right.
So those are some of my concerns.
Right. Terry, now we have you back. Can you talk? You hear me? All right.
All right.
Terry.
All right.
Hey,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. So tell me, you didn't get to answer the question about what was your reaction to Biden stepping down and why, and what have you. So go ahead. You hear me? Terry.
It looks like he's frozen again.
Terry?
Yeah. Well, let me answer this. Your first question was what was my immediate reaction? And I'm going to stay in that space.
Okay.
And why is he not answering the why? Because we need that why answer. It needs to be answered. And so that's what I'm concerned about. There was not enough why. As a PR practitioner, we teach all of our clients that you've got to have AAA. You got to have answers. You got to give us access. And you have to take action. And it seemed like they ran away from that. So the second thing is as a member of the media.
Oh goodness, we got it's this.
What they need to see, they were not chasing.
Keep going.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, and so they were not seeking the truth. It seems like opinion journalism gotten so deep that they would come with their own opinions. I don't have an answer, so I create something. Yeah. And there was so much else going on that could have been focused on. The criminology of the other candidate, a lot of things. So my immediate reaction is, why would you walk away from not having an answer? And also, I think people lost their memory. President Biden has always had a stumble for 50 years. Yeah, but and the last thing I want to say, Pam, is who's on his PR team? The history and the success that Biden's presidency has done in this country, and no one's talking about it. So someone said there's a sister on the team. Well, I question that. I mean, there's so much great stuff coming out of this administration in terms of healthcare, jobs, criminology. There's so much. Let's look back. So my question was, I'm not concerned about Biden not messing up on camera and not talking about it. I'm concerned is who's on your PR team? Who's telling your story? Who's your advocate? And you want me to discuss Project 25? Dan?
Huh? No, the next thing.
Is that the second part of the discussion, Project 25?
No, the second part of the other question was, what are your big three concerns for our nation as it relates to you as a Black man? Go ahead and get it while we got you up. Go ahead and answer that.
Well, girlfriend, that's a whole show by myself. Anyway, my biggest concern is we have to think about terms. Look, the Black vote has helped the Democrats for 22 years. Without the Black vote, none of them would have won. And so my biggest concern is that we don't see ourselves as a voting bloc. And I'm not saying that we need to be a voting bloc to put in our office, but we have the power to choose who wins by just our vote taking it over the top. So we should come to the table with some demands, and we need to be unified. But as always, as you can see in some of the shows and stuff, they can always go find one of us colored folk to disagree with the rest of us, and they'll make that person a superstar. We have someone to say that Trump is protecting Black jobs. They'll find some Negro that's going to stand up and say that's correct. And so we as Black men, my biggest concern is we as Black men don't have that level of solidarity that we had when we did the bus boycott in Montgomery. The biggest challenge I see us doing, that boycott shut down an economic system, so they had to change the laws. Our biggest mistake back then is we should have just started our own transportation company. We forgot to take over the economics of our power. So that's my biggest concern here. And also, the biggest concern is that I don't want to step back into the time of the Flintstones and how we as Black men are going to be able to change that. And we don't live in the moment. And you heard me say this before, Pam. This moment, in order for this moment to be a movement, it's got to gain some momentum that's going to make impact economically, socially, and in the political stage. We've got to get to that point where we revamp how Supreme Court justice can stay on his job or go if he steps out of gets into partisan. We got to revamp the way the Electoral College, which was built for landowners in the 13th century. It's got to go. You know, when you have 5 million people who vote for more, 5 million Americans vote more for one person, the other person wins, there's a problem. So my concerns is that we've got to do this. President Obama, a good ally of mine, once said, during his sophomore year, his second term, he looked at the Democrats and says, you guys don't know what to do with a majority since you have it. And we had the opportunity to address the issues I just talked about, and it was ignored, including our immigration issues, economic development, reparations. So black men, we need to take control and start acting like nation, act like a nation. We control $1.21 trillion that could run the 9th largest country in this world. We need to act like it.
All right. All right. Bill, what are your big concerns? Okay. What are your big 3 concerns for our nation as it relates to you as a black man?
Okay, I'm going to do like we always try to do when we're trying to be organized. Number 1, it's young black men. Number 2, it's white supremacy. All right. Number 2, it's white supremacy. And number 3, it's the lack of understanding of our history with the Supreme Court. So let's go with number 1. A lot of young black men, and shout out to since you all did Detroit, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Detroit chapter of SCLC. They're one of the strongest chapters in the country. So I want to give a shout out to them. I go around with this SCLC t-shirt on, and 90% of the young men, black men that I meet, don't know what it represents. They don't know what it stands for. That's indicative of the fact that they don't know history. So they're making decisions about Trump that has no foundation based on history. They don't understand Jim Crow. If you talk to them about Jim Crow, first of all, they don't understand Reconstruction. They have no history of the Dred Scott. They have no history of Plessy versus Ferguson. They have no history of how the Supreme Court has set us back so many times. They don't know that we had all of these rights and privileges after 1865, and that they were all taken away, and we were set back into the Jim Crow era. They don't understand that's possible to do again. And 2025 is just the vehicle that they want to use to set us back. Then they don't understand, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand, even some white folk don't understand, that everything that we're reading is based on white supremacy and white dominance and white majority rule. These white folks are scared that they're going to lose the majority rule. So all of the abortion issues, it don't have nothing to do with a woman's health. It don't have nothing to do with the health of the baby. They want their white women to have babies so that they can maintain the majority, because the birth rate for white women is one of the lowest in the country. And then the Hispanics are coming in, and they're Catholic. They don't do birth control. They don't do abortion. They're having 7, 6, 7, 8 kids, and white women are having 1. And the fact is, these white men are worried, scared to death that they're going to lose their majority.
Well, they already are going to.
So everybody, let's put that on the table. All of this health mess is all about white supremacy. And if you look at Stephen Miller and you look at the people, Steve Bannon, and all of these people pulling Trump strings, the Mercers and that Breitbart situation, all of this stuff is rooted in neo-fascist, neo-Nazi white supremacy. Don't play games with these people, because they have another agenda. I tell everybody, read the Turner Diary. Read the Turner Diaries. They have accepted the fact that we need a civil war so that they can purge minorities. Now, I might sound radical. I'm not from the Nation of Islam. I'm not a 5%er. I'm not Malcolm X. But I'm telling you, historically, if you understand what they're saying in coded language and dog whistle, they're saying, and I first posted it on my Facebook page, the guy says, with my dying breath, we will maintain our majority in this country. White supremacists saying that. And so, Supreme Court, young black men that don't know their history, and white supremacy and white dominance is the three issues.
Can I dovetail on that?
Sure.
What Bill just stated. I believe I believe wholeheartedly everything he said, but it's even more diabolical than that.
Hard to beat. I hear you.
Because part of the reason why they also want to ban birth control is because if they don't care about whether or not black and brown babies live. And if black and brown women have babies, studies have shown that women who have children at an early age, it's harder for them to attain educational, to complete their education, to attain a college degree, to attain a professional degree. I had a couple of young ladies in my that I went to medical school with who had children at a very early age. Them becoming physicians were the exceptions, not the rule, because most women out here who get pregnant at an early age are not able to achieve to the same level. So it's really kind of diabolical. It's to keep black and brown people at a certain economic level. The other thing is, Trump didn't misspeak when he talked about black jobs. Because if you attack affirmative action, so you're preventing black and brown and red people too, let's not forget about the red people, from attending PWIs, predominantly white institutions, then everybody has to pivot towards HBCUs. But if the next attack after PWIs are on HBCUs, you can't have HBCUs because that's discriminatory, and you're relegating and you're allowing one race of people to have an academic institution, and that's not fair. Then you've watered down and you've gotten rid of the HBCUs. Then you go to the trades. Oh no, you can't be in a trade. So then what jobs will be left for you as a black or brown or red person in this country? The so-called black jobs that he was commenting on, which is menial jobs with a certain wage. So being able to jump and leapfrog to different socioeconomic levels will no longer be possible for black, brown, and red people.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm gonna tell you, Richard, I don't know what your obsession is with weed, but at any rate, I won't ask. All right. Okay, so fellas, now it's time to do a gut check.
Hey, Pam, Terry wanted to comment because he didn't get a chance to comment.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Terry. Did you have something to say?
I cannot raise this enough. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I cannot say this enough. And Pam and I go way back. So I can say this. We have got to stop thinking as if we're guests in this country. We've got to stop thinking as we're outsiders. We have to think ourselves as a nation. If we could take down a bus system in one city with a plan that was that extensive plan, then everything that's going on with us now, we need to come back. But we got too many people building silos. We have HBCU arguments and PWI arguments. We have, I think it's economics. Oh no, I think it's social justice. A nation doesn't have silos. A nation has to handle everything. And black men, black people have to speak in terms of a nation. If we don't, I shared this on a call the other day, and it's not against anybody who's making money. But if we didn't go into hair care industry supply stores that are not owned by us for 5 days, we would put $55 million in our community. So until we start thinking like a nation and start playing these silo games, you need to know what the plan is and quit thinking that all these spokes are a wheel. No, they spokes. So let's put them all on one wheel, and that's changed his way. If you saw how in this win with this whole thing with Vice President Harris, look what we did in 1 hour. Look what we did in 2 hours. Look what the white women did in 1 hour. So they didn't have any, oh, I'm from Missouri. Oh, I'm a Catholic. Oh, I'm Baptist. Oh, there was no, it was a solidarity move. And until we get that solidarity move, we cannot make any sense of the power we have. And we need to go back to telling our story. We've lost our cultural memory. We're not children of plantations. We are the descendants of pyramid builders. They didn't steal stupid people. They stole fathers, doctors, lawyers, architects. One built Washington, D.C. So until we start showing that greatness, how can we expect our young people to catch up? We got to start talking with them and not at them. Yeah. And let them know how powerful we are. When I wake up every day, I know in my DNA is a DNA success, heart transplants, and economic, a money system. Everything in the pharmaceutical industry in America, it comes straight out of the Congo. Until we start thinking like a nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fellas, it's gut check time. Okay, can a woman, a Black woman, be elected to become the leader of the free world? Why or why not? Bill?
Yeah, and it's going to happen. I got a good vibe, a good feel. At first, I was not necessarily, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't always in Barack Obama's corner initially because I really didn't know him that well, and I didn't think the country was ready. But what I found out is that, first of all, when the man spoke, he put a lot of people at ease as far as his ability to understand complex issues. So when I started looking into Kamala's background, and I started realizing that you don't, number one, first of all, she graduated from Thurgood Marshall School. So I give her credit for that, because those people out of Howard University, especially I know the men, but especially the women, when you start looking at Letitia James and all of those strong lawyer, attorney women that come out of school that Thurgood Marshall made famous. Okay, so let's put it this way. She has the credentials. She's an attorney. She was a practicing attorney before she became a DA. Then she became the attorney general for the largest state in the United States, and she took on all the issues. Now, let me say this again, because I'm talking to young Black folk, if any of them are listening. Some of our people deserve to be put in jail. They're talking about the fact that she locked some folk up. I know people that are shooting family members, friends, selling drugs. Remember, I came out of education and I worked in the inner city all my education. I never had a privileged job. I worked in some of the roughest schools. I've taken guns, loaded guns from students. I've been there when a student was shot dead, and I was the first person that reached him. So I worked in inner city schools. Everybody knows the real deal. If you went to Cass Tech or you went to some of them others, that's what I'm talking about. Donald Byrd and all my other friends, Kevin Toney and all of them from Detroit. I love Detroit. So, but the point is, we have to understand this woman has the credentials and the ability. She has learned a lot about being a statesman. I told everybody when she became a senator, she was an attorney. But her years in the Senate and then her years as vice president has turned her not only has not helped her as a great attorney, but it's helped her become a statesman. She knows how the world works. She knows who to talk to. And if she puts the right team of people, a lot of people don't understand the president, Barack Obama, was successful because he had some of the most educated people of all races with him on his team. And he was open enough to say, I want to hear your opinion. I don't want you to agree with me. And that's, if she puts that kind of team together of people from all races, creeds, cultures, and everything else, and ask them, be honest with me. Tell me what you think. Don't try to suck up to me like those people do for that orange dictator. You know, the lady's gonna win. I'm feeling that in my bones right now. This is 2008 plus this year. We're gonna celebrate in January.
All right.
Then we're gonna put on our flak jackets because them fools are gonna go off.
Ron, what say you? Is it? Do you think that she can do it? Do you think that it's time? It's going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you look at what has occurred over the past week and all the organizing that has taken place, she definitely can win. She also has, to Bill's point, the vice presidency gave her that statehood, that state person push. So she is now a statesperson. But she always had the ability, she always had the intellectual ability because of the fact that she is a college graduate. She is a graduate of a professional school. And what do they do? They teach you how to college teaches you critical thinking skills, and professional school takes it to the next level. Grad school takes it to the next level. So I truly believe she has all the tools in her toolbox to be able to do the job. And to Bill's point, the key is, who do you surround yourself with? Remember, Biden told her he wanted her to be the last person in that room.
That's right.
And he wanted to make sure that that she told him the truth. And I think from that, she's gonna expect and want the same from her staff.
Hey, before Terry jumps in, let me just say this. If you know, they've been criticizing, that orange man has been criticizing her for going after Biden during the debates. And you remember she said she pulled a race card on Biden.
Yeah.
And then Biden still chose her. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's what you're talking about, Ron, is when somebody can stand in your face and call you a liar, and you say, that's the person I want on my team, because it means they're not going to suck up. Then if I'm doing something wrong, they're going to tell me. So like you said, that's the kind of people you need around you, people who will tell you what they really believe.
Absolutely. Okay, Terry, you haven't answered that one yet, have you? About can a woman be? Can a black woman?
You said, can she win?
Yeah, can she win?
Can a woman be? It's not about woman. It's not about Martian. It's not about a woman. It's not about Martian. It's about strategy. Barack Obama won on strategy, not race. Okay, I was part of that team. That strategy was amazing. I came from the same community mobilization team. We were both trained by the same system. So this question, can a black woman be elected to become leader of the free world? We get caught up in these games again, Bill. We're playing this stuff. You were talking about her credentials. What is this? Guess who's coming to dinner? Does Sidney Poitier have to be a long list of things just so he can marry that other woman? Their skill. Half the presidents in this country didn't have one skill that she has. None. It's not about skills. It's about strategy, and it's about attacking that system. Y'all have to be really, really honest about this. This is not about race. This is not about gender. This is about winning, and we need a strategy to win, and the skill set always helps. But we need a strategy to win. We get caught up in these silos where we talk about look at our credentials. Yeah, I don't need to prove someone else my capacity as a human being. My walk will show that. I don't have to come around and boast and convince my own people that it's okay for me to run for office. We have got to get away from these games that prevent us from not having solidarity. Once upon a time when we were colored, we had solidarity and didn't care whether you were Baptist or Methodist, or whether you lived across the street, or whether you had a car or you worked the bus. We had solidarity. We had a common cause. Our common cause. This is not a race about race. This is not a presidential race about gender or color or capabilities. Ideology is on the table. Do you want to go back to Jim Crow, or do you want to move forward? This is it. And Kamala could be a Martian. She got strategy. She can win. You know, we have to talk about the restoration of democracy in this country. If we look at Project 2025, that is 1861. So we need to not be, as people of color, play this race game. And I do believe in the power of blackness. I do believe that I am a child with the DNA of pyramid builders. I came from a group of people that built and changed the world. We came before Columbus.
Yes, we did.
So I'm very proud of myself. But this is about strategy, and this is about getting out there and getting that vote done and making sure we save this democracy that we love. And that's where sometimes our argument has got to be about democracy and winning. And we as people of color got to start thinking like nation builders. We need to get out there and get it done.
All right. Show me how we stop it. You starting to cut up. Pins fly here on it. She cuts up every show. All right. Okay, so gentlemen, I'm gonna skip around this next question. What do you make of Trump actively pursuing the rappers, the black young men, and then trying to make a correlation between him having his felonies, his 34 so far, and them being caught up in the criminal justice system? And they're falling for it. I mean, they showed up, they showed up to his convention and performed for him and all of that good stuff. A few of them did. I didn't see 50 perform for him, but I thought 50 Cent did perform for him. He was slated to be there at the convention, just like Amber Rose was or whatever. What do you make of that, Bill?
I was going to say, let me get in on that first. I worked for Sylvia and Joe Robinson, who had the first hit rap record, Rapper's Delight. And I worked for them, and I knew Bobby Robinson with Enjoy Records. What everybody has to understand is when Black people owned the records that were releasing rap records, they did not allow profanity. They did not allow misogyny. They did not allow violence and talking about it. The closest thing we had on Sugar Hill was the message. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what happens is when a certain other group, and this goes back to what Terry was saying, when a certain other group got economically a hold to the rap industry, they allowed all the negative connotations to come out. All the things that come out. Yeah, I give Russell Simmons a shout out. Run DMC and his groups they didn't have the profanity, the misogyny. They didn't talk about shooting and killing each other. You should hear DMX talk about that now. He talks about it tremendously. He says that they allowed a certain group of people who took over the distribution of rap music, allowed for all this violence and everything else to come out. When NWA was put on the scene, when not Spoonie G, when Schoolie D was put on, when Ice-T was put on, with all these gangster records that came out in 1986, 87, and they were talking about shooting and killing and hoes and bees and all of this. Black folk weren't allowing that on their record labels.
No.
We weren't about that game.
And what happened to the FCC regulations about the language and stuff? Bill, that's going to be a whole nother show because I was doing I'm a big YouTuber, and I had heard some things about that there was a collective meeting between the people in the prison pipeline who own the private prisons and record industry labels. and knowing how influential music is, if you just keep dumbing down people and talking about sex and body parts and all this kind of stuff, what do you get? You get a total breakdown of society and behaviors and everything else. And
so let me say to you is those people who have even thought about supporting Trump are the perpetrators of that type of music. They've been selling drugs, murder, bling, all the stuff that Trump is famous for, being glorifying violence and glorifying, you know, I mean, think about all the things he said about if you beat him up, I'll pay for your lawyer. If you know what I'm saying, like that. Those people that are supporting Trump, those rappers, those hip hop people, again, I went back to the fact they don't know history. They don't understand history. So they made their money. All of them became rich by calling women bees and hoes and by telling brothers to go shoot somebody if they disrespect you. I don't have no respect for them. Nope. Not whatsoever. I don't care if they do support Trump. They sold their soul to the devil a long time ago.
That's right. That's right. They definitely have sold out.
Brother McGee, I have to say this. It's not about they. Okay, it's about control. And we own distribution. We own that. I grew up in a hip hop rap world where we were Fear of Black Planet. Okay, we were taking care of our own. It's about money, and someone's bought something out and won't play that. I've worked with R&B singers for years here with our cultural centers in Dallas, and I saw where no one would support their music financially. And if we'd own our own distribution systems, and we didn't, I mean, you know, payola on the radio, we have to understand this. It was not about the rappers that created the bad music. It is about those who control the industry. And that's what they put on there. They paid people to do that. And we talk about all the music people that showed up at the right showcases. Was it a paycheck or was it an endorsement? When I talked to some of those people, they were paid. None of them were endorsing. So we need to have a larger conversation about how we understand what's happening to us. As Malcolm X says, you didn't land on Plymouth Rock, it landed on you. Yeah. So we have to understand that our music didn't change. People who had the bad music started getting paid. The people who had the great music started getting undermined because we didn't control the distribution system or the radio waves it's played on. And until we do that, Oscar Micheaux couldn't get his movies at Paramount, but he had some of the greatest distribution systems in the world back then. He used the churches. The churches made money off his showcases. And he showed Black people in a positive light. They were career builders. They were politicians. They were doctors. So it is not about what we did to the music. It's about us still being like Negroes instead of Black people. We just got to get over that. And we got to go back and control it. We can control it by our dollars and our cents. And also, we need to teach our history. That was one of the most powerful things in our culture before 1800. We've got to get our culture back and own it. And once
you Okay. Well, he was doing, Terry was doing.
My grandmother told me to get a good job and a good education.
All right.
I'd go own a business. I should have went and bought a business.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so last question, gentlemen. Given your personal knowledge of Project 2025, name a key concern for you. Ron, Dr. Charles, you kind of named yours early on. Bill, let's go with you. Name a key concern that you have about Project 2025. Mind you, this thing is over 900 pages long. It has several dimensions to it. But is there anything that jumps out at you that you've heard about Project 2025 that concerns you?
Well, first of all, I heard a young person say today, or he wrote today, that Social Security won't be around when they're old anyhow, so they don't care. I thought the same thing 40 years ago. you know, but a long time before I got past 65, and I'm quite a bit past 65 at this point. So, in fact, I'm past 70. So I thought Social Security wasn't going to be around either. Excuse me. And so the other side to that thing, though, is also what they're doing with the Department of Education. That whole thing about doing away with the Department of Education has been around since Ronald Reagan. Everybody knows that this mandate for leadership is what Project 2025 is all built on. Why do they want to get rid of the Department of Education? Because then the states can decide where they spend their money and how they spend their money. And we'll be right back to separate but unequal, which is what I grew up in and what some of you all in Detroit had to grow up in too. Because you had historically Black high schools that were given less in all things. When I grew up, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to the same high school that Martin Luther King went to, that Gladys Knight went to, Lena Horne went to, Nipsey Russell went to, Dr. Lewis Sullivan. So we're almost as bad as famous as Cass Tech. But matter of fact, Booker T. Washington High School, we used to get used textbooks from the white school across the way.
Yeah.
But guess what? We still had national merit scholars. We still had students that got perfect scores on the SAT. We did more with less.
Right.
And if they go back and they are able to shut down the Department of Education, we'll be back in the same situation again.
Right.
But we have to do more with less. We have buildings that are falling down, but we always had great teachers.
That's the piece.
Now the question is, what's happening with teachers in education in the education prep schools?
Right.
Because the school that I went to, Virginia State University, I went to Morris Brown first.
Okay.
But all I did at Morris Brown was play in the band. I had to come to Virginia State to get a diploma.
Okay.
So when I came to Virginia State, I found out that the school was best known for developing great teachers.
Okay.
And we have a lot of HBCU schools that develop great teachers. So I'm worried about the Department of Education being shut down more than anything.
Right. Ron?
I am concerned about the DOE too being dismantled because there's, you know, they kind of create, they have different departments that affect students, such as financial aid. Your financial aid programs are fed through the Department of Education. The Department of Education, while it doesn't create strict standards because that's done at the state level, it does set the context for certain areas of education, which was the whole premise of Brown versus the Board of Education, fair and equal for everybody.
Right.
So that's one of my concerns. The dismantling of the FDA and the EPA. Those are two additional concerns that I have, because if you dismantle the Food and Drug Administration, then food manufacturers can do whatever to your food. There's
doing whatever to the food.
I know, there's no longer any standards, but at least, you know, at least with the FDA on hand, you don't have to worry. I mean, if you don't have to worry about things that shouldn't be in your food being in your food from a sanitary point of view.
Right.
And
but those chemicals, those dyes and things, so much of our food that we have here in the U.S., it's not even accepted in Europe.
Salt and sugar amounts in our food. Salt and sugar that is causing hypertension in the Black community. You're on it. Hey, but you know what? You said EPA, and understand this. They don't believe in climate change. They don't believe there's nothing wrong. With 115 degree temperatures outside, they think everything's normal. With flooding all over the country, they think everything's normal. You know, so they want to get rid of the EPA too, because, hey, we need to make more, we need to pump more gasoline.
Because the people that are in power presently care more about helping their friends in finances and money than they do about the future of their own children and grandchildren. So, but I think about the saying, what good is if the man gaineth the world and loses his soul? And a lot of these people have lost their souls.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Terry, what's your big rock item with?
Well, I'm gonna go back to my big mama. You know, I write about my big mama. She taught me a lot, and she had a 6th grade education. So I'm gonna throw some things at you. The devil is in the details, and we don't talk enough details. We play the same emotional fear game everybody else is playing. Okay, Project 2025. It wants to dismantle all the social safety we have built: Medicare, Social Security, public assistance when we lose our jobs. Project 2025 wants to eliminate protections for people of color, other marginalized groups and entities, including LGBTQ. This project wants to eliminate overtime protection. It wants to allow this discrimination issue. So let's get back to the details so people know what they're not. You know, Project 2025 sounds powerful. Even we've allowed ourselves to let some of the opposing people call themselves right. The word right means you're correct, but we let them use that as a label. Well, we go left. Which, left-handers are odd. So we've let them control this issue, and we need to take this narrative back. This is not about y'all talked about people with skills. Let me go back to my own faith. All right, God does not call the qualified; He qualifies the call. And so we need to get up, vote, not just down. We need to vote down ballot as well as up.
That's right. The entire ballot.
To vote when there's a presidential race, and we tend not to do nothing when there ain't.
Right.
All right. You can change somebody's position in a school board. Okay. 125 votes can change it. 2,000 votes can change a city council person. So we need to know that we don't need to be qualified. We will be qualified when we show up and vote. We will be the one in charge. So Project 2025 is, people want to talk about how bad it is. They do it just what I would do. That's a white male covenant system to protect me because I'm outnumbered.
There you go.
All right.
That's all it is. So I'm going here to put in some covenants that's going to protect me because I'm outnumbered. And people talk about, well, people of color are taking over population. People of color have been 90% of the population since day one. So you got to quit playing these games that we're playing. Go out there. Don't just go to the polls by yourself. Take 5 people with you and challenge them to take 5. If you do that successfully, you would have made 1,501 votes in 48 minutes. So give me 5, give me votes, and keep the details up front. Project 2025 is not a project. It's killer 2025. Let's kill society based on what we're about to do.
Hey, Pam, are we running out of time?
Go ahead, Bill.
There's 2 words that I really want everybody out there to think about, and I want all of us to think about.
Okay.
Those 2 words are Clarence Thomas.
Oh, Lord. Did we have to bring him up? Ooh.
Yes, we did, because we need to find some way to send that raccoon person, well, we need, Clarence Thomas has to go, people. All skin folk ain't kin folk.
That's right.
Clarence Thomas has got to go. Everybody out there, black folk, everybody else, pink folk, green folk, red folk, we need to do whatever we got to do to get that dude off the Supreme Court.
Right.
Well, you know, you have to always remember that there's a whole lot of broken people out here, broken people of color, and you have some people that have a lot of self-hatred. Yes, and if you look at him and look at his life, he has a lot of self-hatred. A lot of those people it's unfortunate, but a lot of those black men on the right who are in political office today, like Byron Michaels, the gentleman that's running for for governor in North Carolina.
Right.
Oh, Mark Robinson, he is the
Clarence
worst.
Thomas. I mean, and if you listen to some of these people, it's clear that they have some serious deep seated issues in regards to the lack of love of themselves. But none shows it better than Clarence Thomas.
None, absolutely none. Well, listen, guys, it is now 9:13. I am so thankful for all of you.
I know we're close, but I want to say this.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Terry.
I know we're close. I want to say this. This argument is not about. This argument is not about the Joneses. I'm not here to hate on anybody. Once I take over and get what's mine, just like Cookie said in the movie Empire, in the show Empire, I come to get what's mine. So we need to go get what's ours. We need to take back everything and do the power we had. I'm not here to criticize anybody's belief system. I'm here to be so powerful that it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't change my country. So, it's good to hear the old stories. It's good to hear what I've been through, but I want to show you what I'm going to get and what I'm going through. I'm growing through this. Everything we're going through, we're growing through it. God has given us more power than we have. And right now, black men have a special power that they've always had, but now it is least being actualized. So as citizens of this country, as men of color, and as people with power, our dollar speaks sense. All that we have, we need to just show up and show out. I don't need to criticize Brother Thomas. God will take care of him and all the rest of them. What I need to do is get you and people like me to go back and change the ideological landscape of our democracy. Okay? And we need to understand, it goes back to what Dr. Anthony Browder says, we've lost our memory. We need to recover it, and we need to act like a nation and change this country. In 100 days, we need to come back on Pam's show and talk about, look what we did.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we will. And you know what? I probably will make it even a bigger show where I think I can have up to 10 people on the screen at one time, and we can just do a round robin of things or whatever. So we'll do that, because we'll have to have some kind of celebration. Because I really believe that this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Because Trump and them are freaking out. And because they know, one thing that Trump knows is that he is a performer. He is he makes great TV. He knows he knows what to say and all of that type of thing. And he knows that Vance was the wrong thing. He knows. That dude is horrible on a stump speech. He is horrible. He's not everything is just a mess. But you see, Kamala is kicking butt and taking names every time she gets up to a mic. Every time. Yeah. So anyways, guys, we're going to call it a night. I appreciate all of you in the chat. You guys are great.
I'm going to need us to exercise our power, because when you have conversations like this, there are people out there that will come for you. And I'm going to have to Brian or Bill later.
Yeah. Listen, share the video so that more people can be engaged in the conversation. That's the whole point, and that's the wonderful thing about things being on video. You can share and spread the word and all of that good stuff, and it just makes it so much easier for us to get more people involved and connected. Because you have to constantly keep talking about it to be about it, right? Oh, there's Diane. There's my Sands. Hey, Diane. Okay. All right. Thank you, Matt. All right, guys.
Nice to meet you, Pam, and thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. It's very nice meeting you, too. All right. Let's wave off. Good night, guys.
All right. Enjoy.